Tie-dye shirts, bell-bottom pants, granny glasses. The year is 1968, and this was what was on offer over at Chrysler. But before getting into all of it, I'm Jay. Welcome to What It's Like, the automotive channel that brings to light all the lost and forgotten cars and dares you to drive something different. History, specs, design, and sometimes it's like seeing these cars for the very first time. If that sounds of interest, a channel that you will totally dig, subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it to never miss a video. We are coming up on our big 500th episode shindig, where there will be a Q&A session. Ask me anything within reason at the end of that episode, which will be on a 52 Chevy 1-ton truck, my 52 Chevy 1-ton truck. I'll let you guys know what day that's coming. It's coming up soon because this episode is our 495th episode to date. 1968 Chrysler model lineup. These aren't in any particular order. Newport, New Yorker 300, and Town and Country, which was offered in 6 passengers and 9 passengers for their station wagon. Chrysler offered the Newport from 1961 through 1981, but it's worth mentioning the first time they used Newport name was back in 1940 for a Chrysler show car. And then they used the Newport as code name for their hardtop model from 1950 through 1956. In 1961, Chrysler would use Newport as their new low-priced, basement-priced model. The generations are a bit convoluted, but they offered the Newport in 7 generations. 1968 falls in the 4th generation, which was produced from 1965 through 1968, built on Chrysler's C platform, and it was shared with the 300 and New Yorker. Newport was broken down into 2 trims, Newport and Newport Custom. Newport Custom added bright work, added a bench seat with front folding armrests. Newport could be had as a 4-door sedan, 4-door hardtop, 2-door convertible, and 2-door hardtop. 1968 is more or less a carryover body design. So let's compare 66 on top, 68 on the bottom, starting in the front. Everything between these two, or just about everything, is completely different. Bumpers, grills, front fascia. But with that said, there are some similarities worth pointing out. Both have quad headlights, both have single-piece windshields, both have windshield wipers that follow. The grille comes to a point on the 68 versus it's more straight but angled on the 66. Turn signals are located on the bumpers on both. Moving to the side profile, as you can see, both sides are sculpted totally different. Roof profiles are also different. Both have fender skirts. The 68 has rocker molding where the 66 doesn't, but the 66 has trim that runs the lower belt line that the 68 doesn't have. Trim also goes around the front fender on the 68, whereas on 66, it's naked. Moving aft, at this angle, it gives you a better look at the side profile and how different sculpted these two are. Brake lights, deck lid, bumpers, completely different. Jumping inside to take a better look at the dash and interior situation, which are totally different. Which one do you like better? Let's talk specs. 219 inches long, 78.7 inches wide. It rides a wheelbase of 124 inches. It weighs 3,840 pounds. Price, $3,785, which is equivalent to you spending $34,102.85 in the year 2024. Total 1968 Chrysler production was 264,853 units, of which 182,099 were the Chrysler Newport, and of that number, 36,768 were the hardtop coupe variety. Moving on to engines, which there were 2 engines, a couple different flavors. Starting out in the proverbial basement, which this engine wouldn't really be lurking in the proverbial basement because it was a 383 cubic inch displacement V8, 6.3 liters. It's good for 290 horsepower with a 2-barrel carburetor, 330 horsepower with a 4-barrel carburetor at around 4,000 RPM, 425 pound-feet or 576 newton meters around 2,400 RPM with a bore of 4.3 inches and a stroke of 3.4 inches. Compression is 9.2 to 1. 5 main bearings when backed with a 3-speed automatic torque flight 3-speed transmission. 0 to 60 could be had in 7.6 seconds with a theoretical top speed of 130 miles an hour with the 4-barrel. Average 9.6 miles to the gallon. Moving on to the biggest and baddest engine on offer for the Newport, which was the 440 TNT cubic inch displacement V8 7.2 liters. It's good for 375 horsepower, 4,600 RPM. 480 pound-feet or 651 newton meters at 2,800 RPM with a bore of 4.3 inches and a stroke of 3.8 inches. Compression is 9.7 to 1, 5 main bearings when backed with a 3-speed automatic torque flight transmission. 0 to 60 could be had in 6.8 seconds with a theoretical top speed of 135 miles per hour while achieving an average 8.7 miles to the gallon. This absolutely gorgeous 1968 Chrysler Newport is currently for sale at Classic Auto Mall, Morgantown, Pennsylvania, where they have this car as well as over 800 other cars currently for sale at their Morgantown showroom. It's like 8 acres under roof. If you've never been there, it's definitely worth a visit. They got something there for everybody. And a lot of times you see cars that you only read about. Anybody can peruse their inventory, whether that be online or in person. And like I said, going in person is definitely the way to go. 4 hours of operation, directions, and to see more pictures and get more information on this very car, be sure to click the link below after this show. Let's talk styling. Look at this grille, how it comes to a point. Also notice all of the different grill bars going on. The headlights sit way back inside here. Here's my hand for reference. My hand is 7.5 inches long, and it doesn't even come to the headlights. It comes to the bezel, which just take a look at those bezels too, by the way. Turn signal indicators are down here. The bumper. Look at how this bevels down. Chrysler nice and proud on the nose of the car. So look at all the different lines going on in the hood profile itself. Has a center line which goes back to the single piece windshield with windshield wipers that follow. This car has the turn signal indicators on the fenders themselves. The wheel wells do flare. This one's riding on BF Goodrich radial TAs 220, yes, 235, 70, 15. This car has split cowls. Also notice that it's indented inside the hood. So notice here, it's smooth. And it has more of a pressed in look as it goes. This car does have drip rails. When you get up to the top here, it's almost like a drip gutter. It's pretty wide. This car does not have rocker molding, but look at how it bevels down at the bottom. Look at how the roof profile is. As well as this Coke bottle shaped line. This one does have fender skirts. Also notice how the fender skirt is designed. It's not straight. It's got a lot of different lines going on. The deck lid has some lines too. No center line though. Just look at how this comes back to a point. It looks like it has side marker lights. Or maybe that's a reflector. Either way, it's cool. But looking down the side here, it's not slab styled. It's curved in ever so slightly. The lights are convexed. Just look at how those lights are designed, as well as backup lights. And bumper profile. Comes to a point here in the center that mimics the grille up front. Getting inside. Wow, this door is super heavy. This door feels like a bank vault. Just look at this door panel. It's all one material. Feels like a vinyl material. Massive armrest as well as door handle to pull the door shut. This is the door handle to get out. Window crank for the vent window. Is toggle style for the mirror. This is the crank for the big window. It operates like this. And just notice it's notched out. It also has this trim piece to meet up with this rubber so it doesn't leak whenever it's raining. Coming down inside the pedal box down here, you have the emergency brake and our parking brake release, high beam switch, brake pedal, gas pedal. Just take a gander at this interior. Nice bank vault sounding shut. This is what over the hood looks like. It's a very long and wide hood. What a view. Here's what first person over the hood would look like. On to the button switches and knobs. Starting on the left hand, moving right. Amp meter, gasoline gauge, toggle switch for headlights, panel light dimmer, four-way flasher, trip odometer, speedometer. Driver's side footwell vent, drive modes read, park, reverse, neutral, drive, second, first. Passenger side footwell vent, ignition, windshield washer, windshield wipers, clock, fan blower, motor, off, heat, max heat, defrost, slider. You slide it to the right for warmer, volume select, radio, tone, and with added light at the top so you can see what you're doing. Up above, you do have sun visors. They look like this, and they have this cutout for the rear view mirror. There's another sun visor over here. So you can have both of them in place and it not interfere with the rear view mirror, which is a daytime, nighttime rear view mirror. On to the glove box test. But before we get into that, just look at these seats. Look how they have this printed fabric material. It's all textured. Feels so nice. It feels like, I don't know what kind of cloth it would be, but it's definitely a cloth, and this feels like a vinyl. But it's super cool. It has these like buttons on the seats as well. Anyway, on to the glove box test. There's our test subject, hand for reference. Glove box in question. Also notice the glove box is angled. Like there's a drastic angle that comes down here. Like you could put something in there if you wanted to. Hidden compartment inside the glove box to store stuff, as well as cup holder indentations. So it fits in the hole, but I don't think it's going to shut because you have to have space to. Yeah, it's not going to shut. It fits, but it doesn't shut. There's your massive ashtray, a cigarette lighter, dual ashtrays, as well as another secret compartment to hide some stuff, or put more cigarette ashes in there if you wish. Getting in the rear, there is a seat lock. Which is this? Also notice on the back of the seats, it also has this texturized fabric. That is how much space you have to get back in the rear seat. Let's talk seat back profile back here. The seat does dip down rather drastically in the back, and it is rather upright. So it feels like you're taking a power poop, but it's not terrible. The seat back, I guess. The seat back lock, okay, so I have negative knee space, but I guess if I sat up, so my knees are in the back of the seat here, it's not terribly uncomfortable. This is what I look like sitting in the back of the Chrysler Newport. I got adequate headspace. Knees are hitting the back of the chair, but it's not bad. It's not claustrophobic or anything. There's a lot of creature comforts to talk about. The windows do go down. They operate like this. Pretty much go straight down. But it gives it this nice hard top look. There are lights. There's a light there, as well as a coat hook. Everything found on the driver's side is found on the passenger side, except that one, it doesn't have the coat hook over there. So no coat hook over there, but does have a light. Does have an armrest and ashtray, as well as over here has an armrest and ashtray. No center armrest. Here is what the front looks like from the back. Let's take a quick gander at the greenhouse, or the pillar to glass ratio. It's nice in this car. And this is what visibility looks like out the rear from the back seat. That is a huge piece of glass to look out of. Coming to the under the hood section, the hood releases right here. That releases it, and there's a secondary catch right in the center, under, just right behind the Chrysler S. Wow. Look at all the space there is. This massive engine, this 440 actually looks really small in this engine compartment. This one has dual horns, massive alternator, the coil in the front, distributor in the front. The coil is also tucked underneath here. 12-volt battery, windshield washer, fluid tank. This one's got a dual master brake cylinder with power boost, as well as power steering. No fan shroud to protect the fan. Look at how small that radiator is in relationship to the engine. The hood is really light because it has these torsion bars to help out. That was a really cool idea. So check that out again. This hood doesn't have springs. It has these torsion bars. On the positive side, big, powerful car. The engine is not bogged down with the emissions BS that comes later. Bulletproof, torque flight, automatic transmission. There is decent space in the back for a full-grown 2024 adult because we're a little bit bigger than we were back in 1968. Against it, big, heavy, and extremely thirsty. It likes high-octane gasoline. All right, now it's time for Would You Rather. Two scenarios today. In the first scenario, would you rather have a 1968 Oldsmobile Delta 88 or 1968 Chrysler Newport, or 1968 Ford Thunderbird. I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. On to the second scenario, 1968 Buick Wildcat, or 1968 Chrysler Newport, or 1968 AMC Ambassador. Once again, going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. Now it's time for Name That Tune. First person to get both the name of the band and the song title correctly in the comment section will have their comment pinned to the top of it. Thank you all so much for coming out and watching this. If you'd like to get in touch with me, shoot me a comment in the comment section below, or you can always send me an email at what_its_like@yahoo.com. Thank you so much for making this more than a car channel. I love this car community that we have. Till next time, toodaloo! So Chloe, what did you tell me? You want one? Okay, so you could only have one boyfriend. That's what we've been talking about. Yes. Not 2, not 3, not 5, not 10. One. Yes. One boyfriend. Not 2. Yes. Ideally, none. No boyfriends. But if you have to date, one. You have a boy picked out, don't you, that you want to marry? Yeah. No, this is something else that we were talking about. She's like, when can I marry my first husband? I was like, whoa, wait a second, Chloe. You're only marrying one guy. That's the purpose of marriage, is you find one person you want to spend the rest of your life with. Well, what happens if I break up with him? Well, that's what I mean. Well, then you don't marry that person. You only find another one, so no, you only marry one person, and you do life with them. The only way that you get out of it is if one of you die. And then I find another. If you're the one that lives. So Jesus is a boy. You gonna marry Jesus? We can't marry Jesus. He's part of the family. Jesus is part of the family, so we can't marry Jesus. No, he's always with us. So how are we? Every single picture we take, he's with us. How are we supposed to marry him? Marry ourselves? Like how? You're a goofball. You're a goofball.